Okay, hi, I'm Angela Reddick. I teach second grade at Knutson Elementary.
And
this is.
And I'm Angela Gordon. I teach fourth grade at Knutson Elementary.
And we are here just to kind of talk a little bit about what we do in our classroom for reading workshop and guided reading groups.
Can you start by telling us what have you done to make it possible so that you can meet with students in small groups during reading workshop?
Well, I think first of all, it's really important that we start with a classroom climate that's family oriented and they know what's expected, so that we're practicing routines. We are also explaining the importance of reading and how they're going to use it in their everyday lives. I know in fourth grade, most of my kids are at the point where they're starting to move away from learning how to read, but rather learning to read to grow as learners. So to teach them the importance of how they're going to continue to grow as learners through reading in their everyday life.
Very good. I feel like Lower L, a big job of us as teachers is to help our students view themselves as readers. So we actually took time this year and stopped our reading unit for a week and dived really deep into just what does it look like to be a reader, what does it sound like, why do we read, when will you have to learn how to read later on down the road, and just having them feel that ownership and pride in being a reader and wanting to be a reader. And once that's kind of in place and they see the importance of reading, we then took that to like actual reading workshop and worked on having certain students. Oh, can I pause?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to rewind. So before we did that, we decided to do an engagement inventory and watched all of our readers and just kind of noticed who's focused, who's off task, who's fake reading, and that helped us have a new lens and use that data to then decide where to go next to make our readers more successful independently. And from there, we were able to give certain readers nooks and have them own their nook and have ownership over that. They're able to know that that's the place they go every day. It stays the same. I took pictures of all my kids in their nooks reading, and the picture stays there. So it's a constant visual for kids to look at and remind themselves of how they're supposed to look during independent reading time.
In fourth grade, we do something similar where we do also have the reading the engagement inventory, and as students show us that they are able to handle a nook spot, they can choose a place around the room where they would like to choose to read. And for me, I let them choose a different spot every day unless it became a problem, and then I could choose a spot for them.
Mm-hmm.
But very similar between the lower L and upper L in that way.
And I had a misunderstanding. I thought like all at-risk readers should be on some type of like reading menu or reading ladder, and it really opened my eyes when I did the engagement inventory to see that some of my readers were off task just because they were not in the best spot in the room to be successful, or they didn't have enough books, or they didn't have the right books. So I didn't just put everyone on a reading ladder right away. I had to take a look at each individual reader and do what I thought was best for them before just deciding, oh, they need a reading ladder to be successful.
I had probably during that engagement inventory probably 10 kids that would have been considered off-task readers. And of those 10, I found only 3 that needed to be on a reading ladder. The rest could have been solved with their nook position or the types of books that they're reading.
Bottom line, structure, routine, keep it consistent.
Absolutely.
Have guidelines, hold them accountable. They may not get up to go to the bathroom.
Or
I
get
know.
a drink.
Sounds a lot, and they'll cry for a few days, but they can do it. No bathrooms, no drinks. They can only come to you if they're barfing or bleeding, and then they just don't bother you during guided reading groups.
Absolutely.
They see that reading is important, and just getting them to understand that like you're so lucky that you get 45 minutes or 60 minutes to read all the fun books in your book bag. Like letting them see that like this is a privilege. If I could have 60 minutes of uninterrupted reading time just to read all the books that I love, you know, you're really lucky that you have that time every day slotted just for your own reading, and you get to read what's interesting to you. So letting them see the power of how fun this can be.
And by upper L too, allowing them to be a part of choosing those expectations. They've read in workshop for 4 or 5 years, some of them. They know what's expected. To have them help you determine what those expectations are and how to have a successful workshop is also really beneficial.
And don't give up.